So this is a session from the 20th of January, so third day of the training split, which is legs and core. Today was a slightly different session as it was the first time I had deadlifted in a while. So I warmed up thoroughly, went into my squats, which were slightly higher reps than last week, and then went on to deadlifting after my squats. I warmed up with just the bar, just a nice set of 10, get the blood flowing, and then I went on to work with 60 kilos as my first set, and then 80 for 2, and then final set at 90. When I'm squatting, what I'm thinking about is getting nice and set up, so my feet just over shoulder width apart, my toes slightly pointing out, my knees going in the same direction as my toes, so I'm feeling comfortable, and I'm trying at the moment to add a bit more control at the bottom of my squat. So when I'm working at heavy weights, I'm not struggling and getting stuck at the hardest part of the lift. Previously, I used to bounce quite a lot at the bottom, which was fine, but again, the heavier I get, the harder it's going to be to get that stretch shortened cycle, and it's a lot stronger and long-term beneficial if I can add that control. My working sets at 80 and 90 kilos felt very comfortable. I could have probably pushed the weight up to something like 100, 105, 110, something like that, and I'm sure I will next week or the week after. I was definitely holding back some intensity just because I was deadlifting for the first time in a while, so hopefully now getting more into the swing of things, I can be a little bit more confident and not concerned with my lower back. With the deadlifts, the intensity again was still pretty low. I started off with 60 kilos and then I did a good couple of sets at 90 kilos, keeping the reps between 5 and 10, just trying to feel it out as best as possible, keeping my form perfect. When I'm deadlifting, the things I'm thinking about is getting my setup solid, so my feet in grip first off, and then wedging myself under the bar, making sure that I've got a little bit of tension in the bar, my lats are engaged, my upper back are engaged, so I can drive off the floor without my hips shooting too high. A very common issue with deadlifts is where your hips start too low, as if you're in the bottom of a squat. Now this generally leads to your hips shooting up and the hinge becoming more lower back focused than your glutes and hamstrings. If you can get it sorted so you're in a solid position, and as soon as you're pulling, your chest is raising, your hips aren't shooting, they're pushing through, you know you're producing power in the right place, and you're going to be a lot stronger when you start to move up the weights. After deadlifting, it's okay to feel like your lower back has worked, but you don't want to be in significant pain. It probably means you're moving too heavy weights. To finish off my lower body, I did a superset for my glutes, hamstrings and quads. I did bench single leg glute bridges to start off with, which I find engage my hamstrings more than if I was doing them double legged with a barbell. They felt pretty good, doing about 10 reps on each side, making sure I'm getting somewhat close to failure. After the glute bridges, I went on to a split squat, which I did focus one side at a time, leaning over my front leg, trying to keep that constant tension on the quad, so it was getting as much work as possible, a lot of time under tension over the set. I did about 15 reps, again somewhere close to failure on each leg. After 3 rounds of that superset, I went on to my core exercises, which the first one was a tuck sit. It's just a skill that I think is worth working on. It's quite good for your core control, as it's not a dynamic movement, it's a static movement. It's not easy in the slightest, and it hit the upper abs very nicely. I did 3 rounds of 30 seconds, which was pretty painful by the end of the 30 seconds each time. I finished off with a Turkish sit-up, which is a sit-up variation that focuses one side of the core more than the other. I did 10 on each side 3 times round to finish off my core, and that was the session complete. Now, the overall intensity wasn't crazy hard for this session, but it was infinitely times better than doing nothing. I'm sure next time will be harder. Every session doesn't have to be crazy hard. Like, a fitness journey trying to gain muscle mass isn't made or broken in one session. It's the dedication and consistency over weeks, months to actually get the results you want. Hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate you, and have a nice day.